it's banned book week, and my current home state of North Carolina is deciding to get in on the action. Right now, there is a bill that I believe has been passed into law, even though it's being referred to as a bill still, and it is making it so that school libraries have to catalog all the books that are in the library and make it available to the public. Now, this also includes any books that are in classes, and including adding like the teachers' names of onto that. So I'm not 100% against that idea if that was what it was, but it is for the public. So like it's not like, so I have a child in the school system, and if it was like a list going out to all of us parents and saying like there's books that I don't necessarily want my son reading. There are books that other people wouldn't want their kids reading that I would be fine with, vice versa. That's not the big problem here. The problem is that those lists are available to the whole public, including like if you're one of these Moms Against Liberty moms in like Oklahoma, they can read the list and they can find out like teacher A has my mom, I have two mommies or whatever, whatever book offends them. And they don't have any stakes in it. They don't have a kid in the school, and that's just kind of insane that that's the standard now. We know what this is about. It's about control. Obviously, it's about being able to pick what information kids can get. These are the people who tend to give us the parental rights issue. I get to control what my kids. They'll use that in regards to spanking and all these other things, but like God forbid it be like basic information, or classic literature. So there's a couple problems here that I'm worried about. One of them is the way that they're listing teachers kind of feels like they're targeting those teachers, and I think that if I was a teacher, I wouldn't want to be dealing with that, and the way that you solve that problem would be for the teacher to not have any books in their class, and that's obviously a problem. And then I just think we need to figure out how to deal with this in the best way possible. So I think the first thing we do is, this is 3 weeks out from election day, and I get it. You're not seeing a vice president, or you're not seeing the president. You're not seeing senators necessarily because it's not a midterm election, but that doesn't mean on state and municipality levels we're not able to make some say to hopefully undo this stupid law, or fix the law and make it a better law. Because like I said, if it was going out to parents, I would have much less of a problem. The fact that it's going out to the entire general public is insane to me. All right, and so what else? I think that we need to also figure out ways to protect our teachers and our students. Like protect them not only from from the law, but like from that particular law, but also like from being doxxed or being targeted. Like what do we do? And so please get on your get into your local school, to your kids' school boards, and talk to people, figure out what we can do to make that job easier for them, and safer for them, and better for them. I think that we got to figure out loopholes. Like, for example, if the teachers' names have to be on the list of books in their class, could we have a bookshelf out front of the classroom, like in the hallway? Does that count as the main library? Because that's another thing, is that maybe we just do that so that we're not pulling books out of the classroom. I mean, technically we are, but not entirely, so that it's not, hindering our kids reading. All right. The other thing, obviously, is that like an uneducated and less literate populace is part of the problem here, part of the target here, the goal here. And so, how can we fix that? And I think, in addition to taking care of it within our schools, we also have to make sure that we're reading with our kids. I'm a writer, and I'm obviously a big reader from this channel, but it's important. And I think one of the problems here is, in this particular case, is that like people want to just be able to send their kids off on autopilot and like, okay, well, if there's no books that I disagree with in the library, then I don't have to worry about like monitoring them. Well, honestly, the books they're going to find in the library is probably way less of a problem than the things that they're going to get into online or that they're going to hear about from their friends. Like these are not. This is an old school problem at best. Like I don't think it's an actual problem, but I think that we need to figure out how to like be in communication with our children. Like that's a wild take, I'm sure, but how do we do that? Like my son and I talk about what he's reading all the time, and and I think that like we just need to engage with our children. That's going to help a lot. Unfortunately, we also need to go at the like voting to make sure that these kind of things get fixed, and being good citizens as in addition to being good parents. And unfortunately, while the problem, well, my particular problem is that the general public has a say, and unfortunately, we need the general public to also solve this problem, because if we just have parents of the kids in schools voting, it's not going to be enough to undo this. So, what happened to the old rule of my freedom ends where yours begins, or whatever that saying is? If I don't necessarily I'm listening to It right now, by Stephen King. I don't want my son reading or listening to that right now, because he's elementary school age. You might be fine with that. But what I don't want is someone in Oklahoma saying my son can't read or has to read that. Like, that's crazy. And the people who are doing this, the people who want this, are the same people who would be up in arms if we were saying, you can't read the Bible, you have to read whatever, like that they disagree with. So this is not about some kind of set of morals. This is about disarming and diseducating by diseducating the general public. Education's been under attack for decades, and this is like the next level, the ramping up.